VR Forces, Mach's computer-generated forces solution, is terrain agile. That means you match the style of the terrain that you use to your specific simulation requirement. There's nothing like a hand-modeled terrain for close-up operations. Need a whole city or countryside? You'll probably want to use terrain generation tools to procedurally build the terrain. If you have source data and don't want to spend the time to build a terrain, then loading direct from source might be the answer for you. And if you need to simulate anywhere or everywhere on Earth, then streaming terrain from VR the World server is the fastest way to get your simulation up and running. No matter which terrain style you choose, VR Forces is terrain agile. It can load your terrain and let you get right to developing your simulation scenarios. Now let's have a look at how easy VR Forces makes choosing, loading, and using each of these terrain types. Here we watch as a mission planning team sets up to support an emergency response center. Using VR Forces, they will conduct training in a remote village. This terrain was hand-modeled by a database artist and stored in an industry-standard format. It's a lot of work to create this much detail, but the effort pays off when you need to go in and out of buildings, into caves and tunnels, and hide and take cover in urban features. Sometimes you reuse a database built by someone else, and when you do, VR Forces allows you the flexibility to alter the features in the terrain database at runtime. This improves the fidelity of the visuals as well as allows for playing out different scenarios without needing to rebuild the terrain in their terrain tools. Now we watch as another team uses VR Forces to rapidly assemble a terrain database from DTED elevation, GeoTIFF and JPEG imagery, and create 3D features from shapefiles. Once this terrain is composed within VR Forces, the result is saved out to be reloaded whenever needed. Within minutes, this team is ready to plan out an incident response simulation. We understand that it's not always possible to determine ahead of time where your simulation is going to take place. But now with VR Forces, you can connect to VR the World server and stream terrain directly into your simulation. You can simulate anywhere in the world. VR the World server comes loaded with 4 terabytes of terrain and imagery data, and you can upload your own data to increase the detail in any area you want. With all this terrain agility, you'll find that you can also compose new terrains by combining multiple techniques. Here you see a hand-modeled airport loaded as an inset into the streaming terrain from VR the World server. Now we're talking. This simulation team can now provide a highly detailed infrastructure protection scenario in the context of as large an area as they need. At the heart of VR Forces terrain agility is the VR in Terra terrain API. This powerful middleware allows VR Forces to be a truly terrain agile application, loading terrains from many different formats or combining them into a single terrain to support both large and small scale missions. VR in Terra is a software API that lets you build terrain agility into your own simulation applications to achieve system-wide terrain correlation. VR Forces 4.0, the terrain agile computer-generated forces simulation system. Reach out to us at info@mach.com or visit our website www.mach.com.